Hey, what's up, guys? How y'all doing today? Well, baby, if your name is Sean Diddy Combs, it looks like you are trying to put in a motion that you think is going to save you from going to jail. Y'all, everybody is looking for motions to dismiss, and Diddy has put a new motion forward that everyone, and by everyone, I mean Justin and Quincy and Christian, are hoping will be the straw that breaks the camel's back. If you guys don't know, Diddy is engaging in a very high stakes legal maneuvering. I will say this: Mark Agnifilio, Yana, he woke up, and Mark Agnifilio actually clocked in. They are doing a risky legal gamble, one that could have a huge payoff for Diddy. Let's get into this. Now, if you guys don't know, of course, there was a letter submitted to the court. Okay. Diddy is still saying that there are investigators in Virginia that he thinks is leaking evidence to the feds. Now, let me just tell you this. I don't think that there is any truth in this. I mean, it might be. I just don't think so. I think that Diddy is throwing red herrings at the court because he is trying to run out the clock. It seems like the feds have realized that and they submitted their own message to the court. Okay, we're going to get into what it means. We're going to decode, and we are going to get to the bottom of this. Okay. And then this was a letter submitted by the prosecution. Okay, I'll try to go live later and read the whole letter, but let me give you guys a rundown of what it said. Okay, the prosecution is pushing for earlier pretrial disclosures. But Diddy is arguing that the current timeline is already tight and sufficient. Now, this makes no sense because the key point is this is a high stakes battle and it centers on the delicate balance between Diddy's right to a speedy trial and the prosecution's preparatory needs. Okay. Now, in this pretrial motion, the government wants the deadlines moved up 2 weeks. Okay. They're saying the current timelines don't allow for enough preparation. They're arguing that they should follow rulings on pretrial motions to avoid inefficiency. Okay. Now, here's what you can say: the prosecution appears to be playing hardball. Okay. However, the defense is hoping that the prosecution is actually overwhelmed by the scope of the case. Okay. Now, the defense says we don't want any changes. That is the timeline is when everything's supposed to be produced, citing a heavy workload and the need to suppress evidence from unlawful searches. Now, let's go back to those unlawful searches because now I see that all these things are like, oh, it was a masked man, it was someone in Virginia. You guys just need to listen to me. I believe this is nothing but they are stalling for time and trying to run out the clock. Why? Well, listen to this. Let's get back into this. Diddy's team is also arguing that early trials disclosures won't harm the government, but will help ensure a fair trial. Okay. Now, what do they want to be disclosed early? They're saying that the prosecution hasn't clarified who they view as victims. And this leaves the defense unable to prepare efficiently. Okay. Now, Mark Agnifilio, Yana, he's painting himself as an underdog. And it looks like they're also trying to set up for an appeal if things don't go their way. Now, interestingly enough, and it needs to be said, set up for an appeal, Diddy, okay, I guess Mark Agnifilo needs another summer beach house off the coast of France. Okay, and put that appeal in. Okay, now here's the point of contention: there's something called an enterprise letter. Okay, the enterprise letter is going to detail the racketeering charges. The prosecution is saying, hey, can we have till March 7 to align with rulings on the pretrial motions? Why is that so important? Because the pretrial motions are basically what evidence can be used in court or not. The prosecution will waste a lot of time, money, and man hours to literally build a case on things that will actually be dismissed. Okay? The defense is like, nah. You got to stick to February 1st, 2025, because it needs to allow us adequate time to trial prep. They also want expert witness disclosures. There is a debate over simultaneous versus the staggered disclosures. The prosecution prefers efficiency, right? They want, listen, when we get to that bridge, we'll give you all the information. The defense is like, no. We want you to give us it as you discover it. This is a way of short circuiting the prosecution's case. Okay? You guys, again, there is a power play happening. The defense claims the government's withholding strategy undermines the fairness of the trial. Now, you could argue that this is maybe having your cake and eating it too. Because the prosecution brings up a point I'm sure a lot of you guys are thinking. Okay? You're you're the Diddy's team is rushing to trial, but demanding extended preparation timelines. Now, this is a classic legal chess move, one that I hope the judge can see through. The defense, Diddy, is claiming that it still doesn't know who all the victims are. Somebody tell Mark Agnafilio the victims are whoever Diddy talked to, worked with, or passed a diet Welch's grape soda to, right? Again, they're worried that there's going to be surprise evidence or mystery witnesses. But you get the point that the prosecution is saying, Your Honor, Diddy is the one rushing for a shortened timeline. But now you're saying we need to move all the deadlines up to accommodate your rush, but you don't want to speed up. You cannot have it both ways. You know what I'm saying? So, these are the big question. Is the defense using a timeline using this timeline they want to stall for time? I believe so. They're hoping that the prosecution is overburdened, okay? And that they will not be able to build a good case in time if they basically slow them down with all these pretrial motions because they're overburdened with the case and they don't have time to get, like, to bring up all these charges, okay? However, I believe the prosecution is strategically withholding information. Listen, these power dynamics and aggressive deadlines are saying a lot, okay? Now, again, getting back into the prosecutor's concerns, because I feel like we actually need to talk about this. The prosecution is arguing that the current schedule doesn't leave enough time. And let me know what you think in the comments, okay? The prosecution is arguing that the current schedule doesn't leave enough time to address critical pretrial motions before the trial begins on May 5th. They fear that unresolved pretrial motions like challenges or to evidence or charges could disrupt their trial preparation. They believe the pretrial motions will shape the trial scope, including what evidence and charges are admissible. Now, without early resolution, the prosecution might well waste time preparing for issues that could later be excluded or altered by court rulings. Okay, the trial disclosures everybody's arguing for. These include evidence details, witness lists, expert notices. The prosecution doesn't want to submit this information before pretrial motions are decided, as rulings could change what they're allowed to present. The prosecution is heavily emphasizing that the schedule proposed by Diddy deviates from what is considered normal in this district, where such timelines are typically shorter. Again, there's a strategic advantage. By resolving pretrial motions earlier, the prosecution can refine its case strategy. It avoids inefficiency. Remember, I said the law promises speediness and efficiency, right? They don't want to commit to trial disclosures like detailed charges or expert testimony, only to have them revise them if pretrial rulings alter the scope. And that tight timeline with the May 5th, 2025 trial date, the prosecution feels the clock is ticking, especially since discovery or evidence sharing, as you guys know, was only recently completed. Now, again, let me know what you think. Diddy is pushing back hard against any changes to the timeline, saying they're already overwhelmed with the amount of discovery. But you're the ones that asked for it. You knew what you were going with, saying thousands of pages of evidence. Rushing a timeline will prevent them from preparing critical motions, like those challenging evidence obtained through search warrants. And early trial disclosures won't harm the prosecution, but are necessary to ensure fairness, okay? Again, this is a lot. Do you think that the Diddy's team is going to be successful in this? I don't think so, because you guys are the ones rushing this, but then you want to slow things down. Again, we are seeing from the Diddy trial and the Jay-Z's trial. Yes, the law is about justice, but it's also a carefully orchestrated dance, and one that if you do not know the moves, you can quickly find yourself X out. It is a game of musical chairs, one that every time the music stops and the music stops on every motion, you can find yourself disadvantaged and out on a rim. Again, listen, I don't know. The discovery overload, that's what Diddy asked for. You need time to review. If you need time to review, then move the trial date. You can't say that you're mad that they gave you a mountain of evidence that you asked for and demanded, but you don't have time to review it, but you want to review it, but not before the pre-trial motions. Again, you're hoping that the prosecution is overburdened and not declassed, you know? Um, Again, the dismissing of charges, that's not going to happen. The suppression of evidence, they're working hard to do. Um, Listen, Diddy is also claiming he doesn't even fully understand the prosecution's allegations yet, including who the victims are and what the evidence will be used. And the enterprise level would help clarify the prosecution's case. Let me just say this, right? Mark Agnifilio, Yana. Mark Agnifilio has actually clocked in. And this is what Diddy is paying these lawyers to do. This is what Diddy is paying these lawyers for. Again, how do you think this is going to play out, right? Without enough time, Diddy's motions might lack depth or fail to address all relevant issues. Inadequate review of discovery could lead to missing key pieces of evidence. There's also that thing that there will be reduced negotiation leverage. Strong pretrial motions can pressure the prosecution again, right, to drop charges or agree to favorable plea deals. A rush defense might lose this leverage. And also appeal risks. The rush trial preparation could lay the groundwork for an appeal if the defense can argue they were denied adequate time to prepare. However, the strategy is risky as appeals are difficult and time consuming. You guys, what do you think about all this? I think that Diddy is paying a risky legal game. I think it is one that he will most likely lose. I think Mark Agnifilio, Yana, he is fine and clocked in to work. And Mark Agnifilio is doing the things that Diddy originally paid him a small fortune in gold, blood, sweat, and tears to actually bring forth toward the court. However, it's very, very risky. But at this point, Diddy don't got nothing else to lose. I mean, I'm just saying, throw everything and the kitchen sink at it. Anyway, you guys, let me know what you think in the comments. I'm gonna go try to go live later to explain this in even more detail. But yeah, it's on. It is on. This judge's ruling, I think, is going to set the tone to how many superseding indictments Diddy will actually get. Again, law's a game, and it looks like Mark Agnifilio is playing it well. However, at the end of the day, come on, you can only put so much lipstick on the pig, right? You can only put so much lipstick on the pig. Anyway, y'all, let me know what you think in the comments. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.